Episode 4. At the police station, Serhat, alone in his cell, was haunted by the memory of beating Hyal's piano instructor. A police officer eventually opened the cell door and informed him that he had been released. Zeynep and his lawyer Mr. Ergin were there. After signing the necessary paperwork, the officer returned his personal belongings. Mr. Ergin explained that the piano instructor had withdrawn his complaint, so there would be no lawsuit against Serhat. The lawyer also reassured him that no reporters had learned about the incident, so the matter had stayed out of the press. Serhat thanked Mr. Ergin for his help, and dismissed him. As soon as they were alone, Zeynep pointed out that Serhat had forgotten to thank her as well. Serhat asked why he should thank her. Zeynep replied that if she had not pleaded with the piano instructor to withdraw his complaint, he would still be sitting in jail. Serhat immediately called Mr. Nesep and asked him to send him the piano instructor's home address. Before he could finish the call, Zeynep took the phone from his hand. She told him that she knew exactly what he was planning and refused to let him go and beat the instructor again. When Serhat demanded his phone back, Zeynep explained that the piano instructor was not Barak's lover. She told him that the instructor had seen Barak's tattoo when he came to teach Hyal and had admired the design. According to him, he had asked Barak where she got it done, and she simply took him to the tattoo studio so he could get the same tattoo. That was the only reason they had gone there together. Serhat remained unconvinced and asked Zeynep how he was supposed to know the instructor was telling the truth. Zeynep replied that the instructor can never have any kind of relationship with Barak or any other woman. As a second option, Zeynep handed Serhat a few strands of the instructor's hair and suggested that he carry out a DNA test instead of accusing innocent people. Serhat refused to accept her help and told her to stop interfering in his personal affairs because he does not need her favors. Zeynep calmly replied that she had not done any of it for him but for Hyal. Serhat goes to Hyal's room and finds her sitting on her bed, crying. Feeling guilty, he apologizes for what he did and admits that he made a terrible mistake. Hyal asks him why he attacked her piano instructor. Serhat quietly replies that he misunderstood some things and let his anger get the better of him. Still heartbroken, Hyal tells her father that he embarrassed her in front of everyone. She reminds him that she had spent an entire year preparing for the piano recital, only for it to be ruined because of his actions. Unable to forgive him, Hyal tells Serhat that she doesn't want to see him and asks him to leave her room. As Serhat turns to walk out, Hyal tells him that she hates him. This leaves Serhat devastated. Just then, Ilkum walks in. Looking at her father with resentment, she coldly tells him that she wishes he had been the one lying in a coma instead of their mother. The next day, Serhat tells Sevim that Hyal's birthday celebration will go ahead as planned. His mother is uncomfortable with the idea, worrying about what people will say if they celebrate while Barak is lying in a coma. Serhat tells her that he no longer cares about other people's opinions. He explains that he has already spoken to the girl's psychologist, who advised him not to act as though Barak had already died. He also points out that Barak had spent weeks planning every detail of Hyal's birthday, and he wants to honor her wishes. During Hyal's birthday party, Khan notices Kader at the mansion and is surprised to see her there. He asks how she ended up at the house, and Kader replies that Zeynep brought her here. Curious, Khan asks Kader who her mother is, but Say quietly says that she is not allowed to tell anyone. He then asks Kader whether Serhat knows who she really is. Feeling uncomfortable, Kader runs away without answering. Meanwhile, Serhat receives a call from the hospital informing him that someone has left a bouquet of flowers for Barak. The unexpected gesture makes him wonder who would have sent them. Elsewhere in the mansion, Zeynep is searching for Kader when she accidentally bumps into a bookshelf. As she puts the fallen books back in place, she notices a mobile phone hidden inside one of them. She immediately remembers her conversation with Serhat at the police station, where he unknowingly mentioned the passcode 1012. On a hunch, she enters the code, and the phone unlocks. Curious, Zeynep checks the call history and notices that the same phone number appears repeatedly. She dials the number, and someone answers. Instead of hearing the person she expected, she hears Sevim talking about Hyle's birthday cake. At that moment, she puts the pieces together. Zeynep realizes that the mysterious person connected to Kader's father is not a stranger at all but someone who is already part of Serhat's family circle and their close friends. The shocking discovery leaves her wondering who she can trust. Zeynep goes to where the party is holding and calls the mysterious number again, hoping to find out who it belongs to. As she listens carefully, she hears a phone ringing somewhere nearby. She quickly follows the sound, but when she reaches the person carrying the phone, she realizes it is not the one she is looking for. In her haste, she accidentally bumps into a woman but barely stops to apologize as she continues searching for Serhat. Sihan notices how anxious she looks and stops her. He asks what is wrong and why she seems so distressed. Zeynep tells him that she is convinced Kader's father is at the mansion and that she needs to find Serhat immediately. Before she can walk away, Sihan blocks her path and asks who Kader's father is. Frustrated, Zeynep asks him to move aside because she has to tell Serhat what she has discovered. Sihan refuses, insisting that she tell him first. Zeynep admits that she still doesn't know the man's identity. She only knows that he is somewhere in the house. Concerned about Serhat, Sihan begs her not to tell him yet. He fears that Serhat will lose control again and end up getting himself into even more trouble. Zeynep refuses to keep the truth from him. She explains that she found a hidden phone in the attic, concealed inside the pages of a book. When she unlocked it, she discovered that it contained only one phone number. After hearing this, Sihan tells her to let him investigate first. He says he will find out who the number is registered to. Zeynep insists that Kader's father must be exposed today. Without waiting for another word, she walks away to continue looking for Serhat. While reviewing the hospital security camera footage, Serhat is shocked to discover that it was his brother, Ken, who had gone to the hospital and left the bouquet of flowers for Barak. The revelation leaves him wondering why Ken visited her in secret and what he might be hiding. Later, Serhat sits down with his daughters to address the fight at school. He firmly tells them that he will not tolerate any more complaints from their teachers. Episode 5. Serhat sits down with his daughters to address the fight at school. He firmly tells them that he will not tolerate any more complaints from their teachers. Serhat meets Sadef at a cafe. Sadef is surprised that he agreed to see her after she turned his life upside down with the secret she revealed. As a waiter serves Serhat his coffee and wishes him an enjoyable drink, Serhat gets straight to the point. He asks Sadef why she came to his house the previous day. Sadef replies that she only wanted to wish his daughters well. Not convinced, Serhat asks how much Barak had promised to pay her. Pretending not to understand, Sadef asks why Barak would pay her anything. Serhat explains that he checked Barak's phone records and discovered that Sadef called her twice on the day of the accident. He believes that when Barak refused to give her the money she demanded, Sadef decided to come to him instead. He then asks her how much she wants to keep the secret buried. Sadef tells him she does not want his money. She explains that after seeing him with his daughters at the riding club, she realized he was a devoted father and decided not to ask for anything. Instead, she says she wants a job. Reminding Serhat that she used to work as a marketing and advertising director, she says she wants the opportunity to rebuild her career. Serhat agrees but makes it clear that she should not mistake his offer for weakness. He tells her that if the truth ever comes out, she will suffer just as much as he will. He also admits that the only reason he is hiring her is because he wants to keep her where he can watch her. Sadef accepts his conditions without hesitation and confidently tells him that he will not regret hiring her once he sees what she is capable of. Meanwhile, Sihan takes Azra to the gym. Embarrassed, Azra begs him not to make a scene because she already feels humiliated enough. Sihan tells her there is nothing to be embarrassed about. Since he is paying for both her gym membership and personal trainer, he expects her to receive the service she paid for. When the trainer approaches them and offers to create a workout plan for Sihan as well, Sihan declines and says he is only there for Azra. He even points out the areas of Azra's body that he wants the trainer to focus on before telling her that he will return in an hour. Before leaving, he reminds Azra that they still have to deal with the issue of the counterfeit handbag later that day. Elsewhere, Zeynep visits Tulay to ask whether there has been any news about Kader. Tulay says there has not and invites her inside. Zeynep suggests contacting the newspapers in the hope that someone might recognize Kader and help identify her family. At the same time, Serhat receives a phone call who reports that while Ken was in prison, only Sevim and Barak visited him. More surprisingly, Barak's first visit took place 6 months before Ken was imprisoned, and once he was behind bars, she visited him every week for an entire month. The information immediately reminds Serhat of the hospital security footage showing Ken leaving flowers for Barak. Disturbed by the discovery, Serhat tells Sihan that he believes Barak was secretly involved with Ken while he was in prison. Sihan is stunned by the accusation. He asks Serhat if he has lost his mind and reminds him that they are talking about their own brother. Serhat replies that after discovering his wife's betrayal, he no longer knows what to believe. Sihan warns him that if he can suspect Ken without proof, one day he might begin suspecting everyone around him, including him. Serhat asks what Sihan has to do with any of it. Sihan reminds him that Ken is their brother and deserves the benefit of the doubt. Serhat then remembers their childhood. After their father's belongings were seized because of unpaid debts, young Sihan worried that they would also take away his bicycle. Serhat told him to wait in the alley. A few moments later, he returned with the bicycle, explaining that he had grabbed it and ran away. Before anyone could stop him. Back in the present, Serhat admits that he feels like he is losing his mind. He cannot believe he has reached the point of suspecting his own brother. Sihan reassures him that he will find Kader's real father himself. Serhat doubts him, pointing out that he has searched everywhere without success. Sihan confidently replies that Serhat should never underestimate him. If he says he will find the man, then he will. Just then, Serhat receives another call. The doctor informs him that Barak has been moved out of intensive care and into a regular hospital room, meaning he can visit her whenever he wants. Later, Zeynep tells Serhat that Tulay has gone to the police and asks what they are going to do. Serhat says he needs time to think. Trying to lighten the mood, Zeynep offers him a roasted chestnut. Serhat tastes it and admits that it is surprisingly good before asking where she bought it. A little later, Hayal excitedly tells her father that a package has arrived for Barak. Curious, Serhat asks where it came from, and Hayal replies that it was sent from Paris. When Serhat opens the package, he discovers that it contains gifts for Hayal and Ilkum. The girls are delighted, believing it is proof that their mother is still thinking about them despite being in the hospital. Watching from a distance, Kader quietly walks away in tears. Zeynep finds her crying and gently asks what is wrong. Kader sadly asks why Barak did not send her a present too. She wonders if her mother does not love her. Zeynep comforts her by saying that the gift is probably still on its way and may simply have been delayed. When Kader continues to believe that Barak does not love her, Zeynep assures her that mothers always love their children, even when they cannot show it. She encourages Kader to stop worrying and get some sleep. Later that night, Zeynep quietly enters Serhat's room to borrow his car keys so she can buy Kader a present. Startled by the noise, Serhat grabs her arm, mistaking her for a thief. For a brief moment, they simply look at each other. After apologizing for waking him, Zeynep explains that she wanted to borrow his car because she wanted to buy Kader a gift to make up for the one she never received from Barak. Instead of giving her the keys, Serhat tells her there is no need to go anywhere. He explains that there are luxury stores that deliver at any hour of the night and says he will have a doll sent to the house within 2 hours. Touched by his gesture, Zeynep thanks him. Serhat quickly points out that he is not doing it to make up for Barak's mistake. He says he simply owes Zeynep because she took the blame for breaking Barak's framed photograph. As they return to the house together, Sevim notices them arriving late at night and immediately becomes suspicious. She quietly wonders where they have been and what they were doing together. The following morning, Zeynep gives Kader the doll as she told her that it was hidden in the garden so Hayal and Ilkum will not see it. Kader is overjoyed with her new gift and promises that she will never let it out of her sight. Later, Sevim brings up the previous night's events while speaking with Sihan. She reminds him that he once said Serhat would never fire Zeynep and then asks whether the two of them are having an affair. Azra dismisses the idea, insisting that Serhat would never become involved with another woman while Barak is lying in a coma. Still unconvinced, Sevim says she wants to know where Serhat and Zeynep were coming from so late at night. Meanwhile, Serhat informs Sadef that he has reviewed her resume and is impressed with her experience. He offers her the job and tells her to report to work on Monday, adding that Burs will show her to her office and help her settle in. Elsewhere, during her swimming lesson, Ilkum suddenly freezes when memories of finding her mother floating in the pool come flooding back. Overcome with panic, she is unable to continue swimming. Her instructor notices that something is wrong and gently tells her to calm down and take a short break. Episode 6. After apologizing for waking him, Zeynep explains that she wanted to borrow his car because she wanted to buy Kader a gift to make up for the one she never received from Barak. Instead of giving her the keys, Serhat tells her there is no need to go anywhere. He explains that there are luxury stores that deliver at any hour of the night and says he will have a doll sent to the house within 2 hours. Touched by his gesture, Zeynep thanks him. Serhat quickly points out that he is not doing it to make up for Berik's mistake. He says he simply owes Zeynep because she took the blame for breaking Berik's framed photograph. As they return to the house together, Sevim notices them arriving late at night and immediately becomes suspicious. She quietly wonders where they have been and what they were doing together. The following morning, Zeynep gives Kader the doll as she told her that it was hidden in the garden so Hayal and Ilkum will not see it. Kader is overjoyed with her new gift and promises that she will never let it out of her sight. Later, Sevim brings up the previous night's events while speaking with Sihan. She reminds him that he once said Serhat would never fire Zeynep and then asks whether the two of them are having an affair. Azra dismisses the idea, insisting that Serhat would never become involved with another woman while Berik is lying in a coma. Still unconvinced, Sevim says she wants to know where Serhat and Zeynep were coming from so late at night. Meanwhile, Serhat informs Sadef that he has reviewed her resume and is impressed with her experience. He offers her the job and tells her to report to work on Monday, adding that Burs will show her to her office and help her settle in. Elsewhere, during her swimming lesson, Ilkum suddenly freezes when memories of finding her mother floating in the pool come flooding back. Overcome with panic, she is unable to continue swimming. Her instructor notices that something is wrong and gently tells her to calm down and take a short break. At the police station, an officer shows Azra a handbag and asks if it belongs to her. She confirms that it is hers. The police then explain that a man tried to sell the bag to a shop, but the shop owner became suspicious because it matched the description of the stolen bag and alerted the authorities. Sihan asks Azra whether the man in custody is the one who attacked her. The officer explains that the suspect insists he did not steal the bag and claims he found it in a trash bin. Just then, Serhat calls Sihan. Sihan tells him that he is at the police station because Azra's handbag has been found and says he will call him back later. Serhat informs him that an envelope has arrived from the genetics laboratory containing Kader's DNA test results. He then asks Sihan whether he has discovered anything else. Sihan replies that he is still investigating but has not found anything conclusive. He asks Serhat if he has opened the envelope. Serhat says he has not. Sihan tells him that he can go ahead and open it if he wants because it belongs to him and Azra as they had already taken a DNA test after discovering they were unable to have children, so he already knows what the results will show. Serhat agrees and asks him to call once he leaves the police station. Meanwhile, Azra tells the police that the man they arrested is not the person who attacked her and asks them to release him. The officers explain that they still need to continue their investigation. Unable to keep up the lie any longer, Azra finally breaks down and admits that no one assaulted her. She confesses that she caused the injuries to herself. While speaking on the phone, Serhat hands the DNA results to Zeynep and asks her to deliver them to Sihan. When Zeynep arrives, she hears Azra crying inside the house and knocks on the door. Sihan opens it, and Zeynep asks if everything is alright because she heard someone weeping. Trying to cover for Azra, Sihan says that a mirror broke. He explains that he wanted to clean up the broken glass, but Azra kept shouting at him not to touch it because she was afraid he would cut his hand. He says Azra panics over the smallest things. Concerned, Zeynep asks whether Azra has been seeing a specialist. Sihan replies that she has, but unfortunately the treatment has not helped much. He then asks why Zainab came over. She hands him the envelope and says Serhat asked her to deliver the DNA results. After opening it, Sihan confirms that Kader's DNA does not match anyone living in Serhat's household. Zainab is stunned. She insists that it cannot be right because someone inside the house answered the mysterious phone she discovered. Sihan explains that he traced the phone number and found that it is registered to a company. He believes Barak probably obtained the number while working on an interior decoration project and later gave it to her lover. Still unable to accept the results, Zainab calls her mother, Rifika. She tells her that she now believes Kader's father must be one of Serhat's brothers because they were the only people whose DNA was never collected. Rifika is shocked and asks what she is talking about. Zainab admits that she has no idea how she can tell Serhat something so disturbing. Rifika urges her to be careful and warns her not to destroy an entire family based on suspicion alone. Back at the mansion, Kader climbs onto a chair to reach Barak's photograph. She loses her balance and falls. Serhat quickly helps her up. Gently asking where she is hurt, he applies ointment to her bruised arm. He asks whether she was trying to reach Barak's picture. Kader nods and says she simply wanted to look at her mother's photograph. She then innocently tells Serhat that whenever she gets upset, she plays with her hair just like her mother used to. Curious, Serhat asks who told her that. Kader replies that Khan told her. The answer leaves Serhat frozen. After a long silence, he quietly tells Kader she can go. Episode 7. Serhat immediately calls Sihan and asks whether Khan knows about Kader. Sihan replies that Khan never mentioned anything to him and wonders why Serhat is suddenly asking. Memories begin flooding back to Serhat, the hospital security footage showing Khan secretly visiting Barak and the strange conversations they had shared. The pieces begin fitting together in the worst possible way. Consumed by anger, Serhat opens his safe, takes out his handgun, tucks it into the back of his waistband, and leaves the house. Moments later, Zainab returns with a box of crayons she bought for Kader. Excited, she tells the little girl that she thought she would enjoy them. Kader happily thanks her before mentioning that she told Mr. Serhat a secret, that whenever she is upset, she plays with her hair just like her mother. Zainab immediately asks who told her that. Kader once again answers that it was Khan. Realizing the seriousness of what this could mean, Zainab quickly calls Sihan and asks whether Khan knows who Kader really is. Sihan is surprised and tells her that Serhat had just asked him the exact same question. Alarmed, Zainab rushes to Serhat's office and opens the safe. When she sees that the gun is gone, her heart sinks. She immediately calls Sihan back and tells him that she is convinced Khan is Kader's father and that Serhat has figured it out. She also tells him that Serhat's gun is missing. Although Sihan refuses to believe Serhat would actually use it, Zainab asks where Khan is staying. Sihan tells her that Khan does not have a permanent home and is currently living on a boat at the Atakoy marina. Meanwhile, Serhat arrives at the marina and confronts Khan. Furious, he tells his brother that he has already spoken to Kader and demands to know why he kept everything a secret. Khan calmly asks Serhat to sit down so they can talk. Serhat explodes, asking what there is left to talk about after his own brother had an affair with his wife. Completely confused, Khan insists that Serhat has misunderstood everything. Serhat pulls out his gun and points it directly at him. Can pleads with him to calm down and listen to his explanation before doing something they will both regret. Ignoring him, Serhat says that the day he learned Barak had betrayed him, he thought it was the worst day of his life. But discovering that the man she supposedly betrayed him with was his own brother is even more unbearable. Can desperately reaches toward the gun, begging Serhat to hand it over so they can talk. At that moment, Zeynep jumps out of a taxi after spotting Serhat's car and runs toward the boat as fast as she can. Just as she reaches the dock, a gunshot echoes through the marina. Zeynep freezes before rushing onto the boat, where she finds Can lying on the floor. Horrified, she looks at Serhat and asks, "What have you done?" Zeynep rushes toward Can, seeing him lying on the ground, turns to Serhat in horror, asking what he has done. She kneels beside Can and desperately tries to stop the bleeding, begging him not to die. Noticing that he is still breathing, she urges Serhat to call an ambulance immediately. However, Serhat appears completely lost, standing there in shock as if he cannot process what has just happened. Sihan soon arrives at the inn and is horrified by the scene. He asks Serhat what he has done. Serhat quietly tells him that it was an accident and that the gun went off while Can was trying to take it away from him. As Zeynep calls for an ambulance, Sihan takes the phone from her and asks who she is calling. When she says the ambulance, he tells her he will handle it himself and asks Serhat to leave immediately. Serhat refuses, insisting that he is not running away because it was an accident. Sihan tells him to forget everything that happened and leave before the police arrive. Sihan asks Zeynep to take Serhat away, but he stubbornly refuses to move. Ignoring him, Sihan calls the ambulance himself. Can asks Zeynep to take a bundle of letters from his suitcase and give them to Serhat. He says Serhat must read them. Worried about his condition, Zeynep asks him not to exhaust himself by talking. Realizing Sihan is right, Zeynep tells Serhat that he has to leave. She reminds him that his daughters have already lost their mother to a coma and need him now more than ever. Reluctantly, Serhat leaves with her. Back at the mansion, Ilkum puts on one of Barak's necklaces. Hayal tells her to return it because it belongs to their mother. Ilkum refuses, saying that she wants to wear it when she meets Maya. Hayal reminds her that she never asked for their mother's permission. Ilkum insists that the necklace is practically hers because Barak promised to give it to her if she won a medal. Hayal immediately calls her a liar, saying their mother promised to give the necklace to her after she was accepted into the conservatory. The sisters begin pulling the necklace from opposite sides until it snaps in half, leading to another heated fight. Meanwhile, Sihan arrives at the hospital with Can and tells the doctor that he found his brother injured and called the ambulance. He pleads with the medical team to save him. Afterward, Sihan calls Serhat and informs him that Can has been taken to the same hospital where Barak is admitted. He also tells him that the police have been notified and advises him not to return home or to his hotel until they know Can's condition. Serhat listens silently before ending the call. At the mansion, Hayal and Ilkum continue arguing, throwing each other's belongings around the room and wrecking everything in sight. While driving, Serhat asks Zeynep where she is going. She says she has no idea, but Serhat orders her to turn toward the hospital. She refuses, saying they should not go there. Serhat repeatedly orders her to turn the car around, eventually shouting at her. Frustrated, Zeynep pulls over and gets out of the car, intending to walk away. Serhat returns to the driver's seat, only to realize she has taken the car keys. He demands that she give them back, but Zeynep refuses. She tells him she will not let him drive anywhere until they know Can's condition. Serhat insists that he does not need her permission to go to the hospital. After another heated argument, Zeynep hands him the keys. As they continue driving, Zeynep remembers the letters Can gave her. Serhat angrily tells her to tear them up, convinced they are love letters between Can and Barak. Zeynep reminds him that they do not know what is inside and that Can specifically asked him to read them. Serhat sarcastically asks whether he is supposed to sit and read his wife's love letters to another man. He calls Zeynep stubborn and once again orders her to throw them away. Ignoring him, Zeynep opens one of the letters and begins reading it. Moments later, she looks at Serhat and tells him that Kader's father is not his brother. Serhat immediately begins reading the rest of Barak's letters to Can, but nowhere does she reveal the identity of Kader's real father. Back at the mansion, Sevim calls Zeynep and demands to know where she is. She complains that the girls are destroying the house. Zeynep replies that something urgent came up but promises to return and handle everything. Sevim coldly tells her not to bother coming back and that she will inform Serhat. Meanwhile, Sevim walks into the kitchen and sees Kader making toast. Instead of showing concern, she criticizes the little girl for making a mess. She then tells Kader to pack her belongings after she is done, as once Zeynep returns, they will both be leaving the mansion. When Serhat and Zeynep arrive at the hospital, they learn that Can's injuries are not life-threatening. Sihan immediately tells Serhat to leave because the police are there to question everyone. Serhat refuses, saying he cannot leave before apologizing to his brother. He tells Zeynep that she can go home if she wants, but she chooses to stay. Zeynep then informs Sihan that certain Can is not Kader's father. Sihan tells her that he has located the man who had been speaking to Barak on the secret phone and that he plans to meet him the following day. Satisfied that there is finally a lead, Zeynep says she will go with him. Sevim confronts Zeynep. She sarcastically tells Zeynep that Serhat is never going to marry her. Confused, Zeynep asks what she means. Sevim accuses her of pretending to be kind so she can get close to Serhat while Barak is lying in a coma. She claims Zeynep is hoping to work her way into Serhat's bed. Deeply offended, Zeynep tells Sevim to stop. She says she is only remaining respectful because of Serhat, otherwise, she would have given her the response she deserves. She adds that Sevim should be ashamed of herself for making such disgusting accusations at her age. Sevim grabs Zeynep and points to Barak's photographs, asking whether she could ever be as elegant, beautiful and perfect as Barak. Zeynep agrees with her as she will never match up to Barak. Sevim then says the mansion needs a cleaner and suggests Zeynep should send one of her relatives instead. Zeynep firmly replies that no one will be coming before walking away. Elsewhere, Azra asks Sihan what happened the previous night because both he and Serhat looked devastated when they returned home. Sihan quietly tells her that Serhat shot Can. Shocked, Azra is left speechless. Sihan warns her not to tell Sevim because she will only create more drama. He then asks Azra what she plans to do that day. She replies that she intends to stay home. Suspicious, Sihan warns her not to visit her ex-lover at the hospital. Azra insists that Can has always treated her like a younger sister and says there was never anything romantic between them, but Sihan still refuses to trust her. Episode 8. At the hospital, Can tells Serhat that he informed the police he accidentally shot himself. Serhat is overwhelmed with guilt and apologizes for accusing his own brother of having an affair with Barak. Khan tells him not to blame himself. However, Serhat says Khan is still guilty of hiding Barak's secret from him all these years. Khan agrees and sincerely apologizes for keeping silent. The following day, Sihan and Zainab track down Metin, the man who had been speaking to Barak on the secret phone. The moment Sihan recognizes him, he punches him. Grabbing him by the collar, Sihan demands to know what he had been discussing with Barak. Metin nervously insists that everything is a misunderstanding. He admits they spoke on the phone but explains that one day in Katalka he saw Barak getting out of a taxi. When she ignored him, he secretly followed her and discovered the clinic where she gave birth to her baby. Zainab accuses him of lying and demands to know why he kept calling Barak on the secret phone. Metin finally confesses that after his startup business failed, he began selling information about wealthy people for money, and Barak became one of his targets. Disgusted by his confession, Zainab spits at him and calls him a vile human being before walking away. Once she is gone, Metin reminds Sihan that they agreed there would be no violence. Sihan replies that it would not have looked believable if they had simply sat down and talked politely. Metin accuses Sihan of being Barak's lover. He ounces Metin and tells him that he is only doing all this to stop his brother from becoming a murderer. Later, Sihan asks Serhat what big secret Khan is still protecting. He believes it must be something serious if Khan is willing to keep Barak's secret even after everything that has happened. Serhat says that Khan refused to tell him anything. Sihan sighs and says that if Khan has chosen to remain silent, then that is his decision, and they will have to respect it, for now. Azra visits Khan in the hospital as he packs his belongings after being discharged. She tells him she came to make sure he is all right. Khan reassures her that he is fine and that the doctor has allowed him to leave, but their conversation quickly becomes emotional. Khan reminds Azra that he went to prison to protect her secret and, although he has now been released, he feels that his punishment is still not over. Filled with guilt, Azra admits she wishes he had told the truth from the beginning because if he had confessed that she accidentally killed the man, none of the suffering that followed would have happened. Speaking bitterly, Azra says that although she appears to have the perfect life with wealth and a husband who seems devoted to her, appearances are deceiving. Concerned, Khan asks if Sihan is treating her badly. Before she can answer, they hear Sihan approaching the room. Panicking, Azra quickly hides on the balcony and begs Khan not to tell Sihan she was there, revealing just how afraid she is of her husband. Sihan enters the room and is surprised to see Khan standing. He tells him he should still be resting, but Khan explains that the doctor has discharged him because he is tired of staying in the hospital. Sihan then tells Khan that he wants him to become the manager of their new hotel because they need someone they trust completely. When Khan hesitates, Sihan jokingly says he will not leave until Khan agrees because he refuses to accept no for an answer. Khan eventually accepts the offer. After Sihan leaves, Azra comes out of hiding. She tells Khan she has to get home before Sihan arrives and again insists that she is not afraid of her husband, claiming he treats her like a princess, even though her actions suggest otherwise. Back at Serhat's house, Serhat finds Kader holding a copy of Sleeping Beauty, the first fairy tale book he had bought years ago for his daughters. Curious about the ending, Kader asks what happens to the princess. Serhat initially gives the traditional fairy tale ending, saying the prince rescues the princess and they live happily ever after. However, When Zeynep joins them, Serhat changes the story, saying that later the princess betrays the prince and their happiness ends. Shocked, Zeynep asks why he is ruining the fairy tale for the little girl. Serhat coldly explains that not every fairy tale has a happy ending and wants Kader to learn that lesson. Zeynep reminds him that there are still honest and loyal women in the world, but Serhat replies that after betrayal, a prince can never truly trust another princess again, making it clear that he is still deeply wounded by Berik's betrayal. Later, Serhat's daughters notice how much time he has been spending with Zeynep. Hayal asks whether he now shares his personal problems with her. Serhat firmly denies it and insists that Zeynep is only Kader's nanny. Ilkem then asks whether he is close to Sedef instead, but Serhat tells his daughters that he is not close to anyone. Later that day, Zeynep worries about Kader's future since they have still not found the child's biological father and fear the search could take months. Serhat promises he will find a solution. Zeynep says she cannot spend months simply waiting and plans to look for a job. She explains that being a nanny is not her profession and that she wants to work in the field she actually studied for. Serhat dismisses her concerns, unintentionally making her feel as though he only sees her as an uneducated florist. Before leaving, Serhat asks Zeynep to take Kader shopping the following day so the little girl can have some fun instead of remaining trapped inside the house. Zeynep worries they might be seen by the police, but Serhat assures her that if any problems arise, he will handle them himself. As he walks away, Zeynep sincerely thanks him for recovering her brother's truck, and Serhat simply replies that he was correcting his mother's mistake before wishing her good night. The following morning, Serhat informs Sihan that he has hired Sedef because she knows Berik's secret and he wants to keep her where he can watch her. Sihan suggests it would have been easier to simply pay her to remain silent, but Serhat points out that if money were enough to silence Sedef, Berik would have done it years ago. Sedef then arrives and Serhat introduces her as the person who will oversee the company's advertising strategy. Without hesitation, Sedef criticizes the company's current advertising policy and presents several ideas to improve it. During the meeting, Serhat receives a phone call from the bank asking whether his credit card has been stolen. He calmly explains that he gave the card to Zeynep himself. Once the call ends, Sihan becomes furious, arguing that if Kader's abusive family discovers where the child is, Serhat will create even more problems. Serhat refuses to send Kader back to people who mistreated her. Sihan proposes renting Zeynep an apartment where she and Kader could hide while he pays the expenses, but Serhat rejects the idea and firmly tells Sihan to stay out of his decisions. Meanwhile, Sihan secretly visits Erkan and Tulay. He confirms that Erkan is Kader's stepfather and tells them he knows exactly where Kader is staying. Thinking he has come to demand a reward, Erkan laughs him off, but Sihan instead tells them to go and take Kader back. He even offers them money for doing so, encouraging them to retrieve the child. Elsewhere, Ebru arrives at Serhat's house expecting to clean for Azra. Confused, Azra says she never hired anyone, but Sevim reveals that she arranged the cleaning herself. Sevim orders Ebru to remove her shoes, fetch the cleaning supplies from the bathroom and begin working immediately, treating her more like a servant than a guest. While Zeynep is walking home with Kader, Erkan and Tulay suddenly appear. Ignoring Zeynep's desperate attempts to stop them, they violently grab Kader from her arms, force her into their car and drive away. Heartbroken, Zeynep immediately calls Serhat, crying as she tells him Kader has been kidnapped. Serhat urges her to stay calm and promises that he will bring Kader back. At the same time, Erkan calls Sihan to confirm that they have Kader. Sitting beside him in the car, Azra overhears the conversation. When she questions what is happening, Sihan tells her not to ask any questions because everything he is doing is for Serhat's happiness. He warns her not to tell anyone what she has heard.